I'm Mr. Rosansky. Hot take! All good writers are smart people, but not all smart people are good writers. When I say writing, I mean actual writing with a purpose, not fiction. I'm talking about analytical writing, technical writing, persuasive writing. To do those three things that I just mentioned properly, it takes such an impressive understanding of the world, a refined understanding of the world, and a refined ability to present it as it is. Good writing is like a train. Ideas are packaged perfectly, effectively, economically, and then they are put together on a singular cart. Then those carts are then linked together in a way that just makes sense. And then those carts are all sent in the same direction for the same purpose. Not all smart people are good writers because they haven't learned the way in which to properly express themselves through writing. They are writing as they speak, which it's not well-oiled locomotion of transporting a singular idea, a singular thing like cheese from Wisconsin to Florida. It's more like a herd of gazelle transporting themselves from a pride of lions. They aren't really going anywhere. They're just trying to go, to get away. That's how most basic writers are. They're frantically throwing out ideas, hoping for some sort of salvation that probably won't ever come. Good writers are organized. That's a common thread that weaves them all together. For our purposes in this class, we're going to subscribe to a certain writing style. P.E.E.L. 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 Comma Jordan.
P.E.E.L. Out. It would have been more dramatic had my girl drove the car faster, but we don't believe in breaking the law. Not even for a point.
Speaking of point, here is P.E.E.L. in all of its illustrious glory. There is our acronym, and these are the individual parts that it breaks down to: point, example, effect, and link. We will break these things down further in a bit and apply them to something, but for now, let's just go over the value of P.E.E.L. All good writing needs structure. Structure is provided by P.E.E.L. We use P.E.E.L. specifically because Cambridge uses P.E.E.L. and that's nice, but P.E.E.L. is also wonderful because it is so darn flexible. Writing shouldn't be this stressful, confined act where you're writing a 5-paragraph essay always and you have 8 sentences in every single paragraph always, and if you don't do that, you've done something wrong, because just by doing that doesn't mean you've done something right. Writing is organic. I've written some great 3-paragraph essays, and I've written some long 20-paragraph essays. And I've done what needed to be done because it fit what needed to be done, not because someone told me to do something or I felt pressured to do something a certain way. P.E.E.L. is open for flexibility. This example right here is if you had a P.E.E.L. paragraph with one example. You could break it down simply by having a point, an example 1, an effect 1, and a link. But if you had 2 separate quotes that supported one point, then P.E.E.L. opens up while maintaining its beautiful rhythm into something a little bit different, but predictable. You have your second example sandwiched in between your first example and the link. And to make things a little bit more neat, a little bit more what you're used to, if you wanted a paragraph with 3 quotes in it, as so many of you have been told for so long. P.E.E.L allows for that. It would just become a very long... Oh, geez, I guess you're just going to wait for me to write these things out. Handwriting is deteriorating, but you know that is the standard. There is our third example that you love so much, and there's our third effect that you love so much, and then one link. So all of these things are possible P.E.E.L paragraphs. It's just what the text is demanding. Demanding is kind of a harsh word. It's more what the text calls for, because you are having a conversation with the text. That's what a commentary is. No, that's corny. But here is a template. Remember, you could have a P.E.E.L paragraph that's just P.E.1 and then an L, but here's the standard ideal P.E.E.L template. Ideally, you would be able to find 3 separate quotes that all work together to prove one point. It's like proving a case in a murder trial. The more evidence you have, the better it is. Don't murder anyone, though. We're just writing essays. This paper has a point in 1 or 2 sentences. Explain the first main idea that supports your thesis. Then it goes into an example. 1, identify and explain, straightforward. We'll talk about integration of quotes in another time. Explain the effect. We'll have a whole lesson about what it means to properly explain effect, and then it's just that, again, with the link at the end. Make a connection between devices used to the world or to the prompt. For now, it's a lot of overwhelming stuff with some empty boxes over here, which we'll talk about at another time, but you can just copy this down so that you have it at your resource. And another very valuable resource is the sentence starter that you would plug in to the things to the left. So before we get into creating juicy ideas, we can start ourselves down the right path. Because if we start off on the wrong foot, well, we know that saying. You trip, is I think where it should go. P.E.E.L sentence starters, you can mix and match noun, phrases, and verbs. Try to avoid the ambiguity of lonely demonstrative pronouns, which is this and the word that, these, and those. Always try to supply something after that, turning them into a demonstrative pronoun, or from a demonstrative pronoun into a demonstrative determiner. Put a noun after them. This connotes versus this aggressive word connotes. It just helps build that train a little bit better with things from the past linking to things to come. I would copy these down because chances are if you're using these sentence starters in your writing, it's hard to write improperly. It's hard to just summarize, and it's hard to be too superficial. Here are mix and match phrases that you can use to try to create the best essay when we do eventually start writing things. We will apply P.E.E.L, but for now it's just getting the chart, getting the sentence starters, so that when we start looking at texts and integrating commentary and analysis, we have a firm understanding of what kind of should be done. We have the resources somewhere, and then we can just work on the critical thinking part, which is the hardest part. For now, I'll send you off with something that I know you've been missing for the last couple of minutes, is one final P.E.E.L.